good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be joining us from. My name is John Feeley. I'm a retired American ambassador, and I am a proud member of the World Federation of Youth Clubs Advisory Council. I want to first of all congratulate all of you. I know that you've had an incredible 2 or 3 days. I know that the conversations that you've had and the engagements you've had have been fulfilling, they've been rewarding, and I would imagine that in some cases they have been challenging. I want to take a moment just to ask you to think about what you've done, what you've accomplished, and what you will accomplish. You know, I spent about 30 years as an American diplomat and as an ambassador. I worked almost exclusively in Latin America and the Caribbean. Y para mis hermanos y hermanas en América Latina, les mando un saludo muy caluroso desde el World Federation of Youth Clubs. Ustedes son una parte integral de esta organización y su trabajo y su labor a favor de sociedades más democráticas, más saludables, más progresistas es muy importante. But listen, the bottom line is that there are a lot of people who, when I tell them, hey, I'm an old gray-haired retired diplomat, they kind of go, yeah, so what does that mean? And basically what I tell them is, look, nation states, countries, flags at the UN, if you will, come in all shapes, colors, sizes. We're all different. The diversity of man is almost incalculable. But there are a couple of core values that most nation states and governments all agree upon. And one of them is that the most valuable resource we have are our children. It's the next generation. We all know philosophically that we've only got so much time on this mortal coil, on this earth here. And what we do to protect and strengthen relationships, community relationships, that then, like concentric circles, build into state relationships and then build into international relationships. That's some of the most valuable work that we do. But we're only custodians. We only get to do this work for a certain amount of time. And perhaps the most important aspect of doing this work is learning what's worked before, what types of community organizing, what types of education, what types of health and welfare scenarios work in different places. And then the most important part, pass it on. And that is what ambassadors try to do. Now, we do it in places called embassies, and there's all kinds of pomp and circumstance associated with it. But when you come down to it, the work of an ambassador is to project the interests of his or her country and to try to get those interests either achieved or defended or whatever. But I always used to say that there are two kinds of ambassadors. There are the ones like me who, through a tremendous amount of privilege, a tremendous amount of hard work, but also a tremendous amount of luck and opportunity, get to do it while sitting behind our country's flag. In my case, I did it behind the American flag, and I was very proud to do it. And I met over the course of my 3 decades of diplomacy with many people from around the world who were similarly called ambassadors of France, of Brazil, of India, of Russia. And there was a kind of brotherhood, sisterhood, if you will, that developed. And it does develop. I was not unique. It develops in every diplomat's career. But you know, if you ask all of us, perhaps after a good meal and a drink or two, who the real ambassadors are, we're usually the first ones to tell you that it's not us. It's the people we represent. And the people we represent as ambassadors have both the obligation and they have the right to defend their own interests. And when you boil interests down, what we're talking about is living well, living positive lives, living lives where everybody has an opportunity to provide for their and their family's basic needs, and having the opportunity perhaps to achieve something new, to explore. When you take a look at the mission of the World Federation of Youth Clubs, and you look at the actual work that goes on in all of the marvelous boys and girls clubs, or however they're called in different countries around the world, what you find there is a common sense of purpose to make lives better for ordinary people. And to me, that is among the greatest jobs of diplomacy. Now, to do this, you need structure. And that structure can morph, it can change over time, but the structure has to be underpinned by values. And so I want you to think of some of the words that you've heard today from either Kirk, our CEO, or Rick Goins, Susan, the founders, the creative geniuses, I would say, behind this whole enterprise. And I want you to think about how they spoke about values of brotherhood, the values of solidarity, the value of compassion. My own personal thought is that in this day and age around the globe, when you take a look at politics, for example, we're terribly polarized. I don't exactly know how we got here, and there's a lot of finger pointing on both sides, but I think the way back from this current state of affairs may be through youth. It may be through all of you. As we say in the States, the kids. I think maybe the answer to get us out of our situation of polarization, to get us back in a place where we actually work towards common goals. We agree to disagree in some cases, but we never lose sight of what those common goals are. I think you people have it. And I think that the conversations that you've had over the past couple of days under the aegis, under the umbrella of the World Federation of Youth Clubs has in it maybe that special sauce. Maybe it has the recipe for teaching some of us, the older generation, hey, this is the better way. Conversation, dialogue, joint enterprise, collaboration. Think of all those words. These are things that you in your boys and girls clubs around the world put into practice every day. These are the things that we need to preserve, and most important, we need to strengthen. So as you finish up, I want to again extend my deepest congratulations to you. I want to charge you to all go back. Wherever you're sitting, wherever you're watching this, if it's on whatever computer screen or phone screen you're watching this on, I want to give you a challenge. And this challenge is to simply sit quietly and reflect on what you've heard, what you've seen, the conversations you've had over the last couple of days, and figure out how you best, on an individual level and on a collective level, with your friends, with your associates, with your buddies and girlfriends in these clubs, how you can affect change, how you can contribute. Think about the fact that one day you're going to have gray hair just like I do now. I know you're young and it's wonderful. Enjoy it, live it fully. But know that time passes fast. It wasn't that long ago that I myself was a young man. Don't ever lose the dreams that you have as a young man or a young woman. Know that through the World Federation of Youth Clubs, you will always have caring and responsible adults who will be there to help you. Remember, their job is to pass on the good knowledge that they have garnered in their life. Your job, and this is my challenge to you, is to take that knowledge of what happened before, what came before, to now study it, understand it, but then chart your own path. Always chart your own path, recognizing that the most valuable thing you will ever do is give back. You will contribute to your family, to your friends, to your community, and maybe for some of you, like an ambassador, to your nation state. Thank you so much again for letting me have these few moments with you. It is indeed very special for me. It makes an old man feel like he's still part of something that's bigger than himself. Thank you, and safe travels home.